friends, I'm Liz.
I'm Robbie. Welcome back to our channel, Bookworm Couple. It is time for another monthly wrap-up / TBR. It was an interesting month for us. We had a lot of stuff going on personally, and so, not as much reading done as normal, but we made it work.
You got probably a decent amount done. I got very
mostly in the last week. I think I read like 3 or 4 books.
That's what happens when you go on vacation.
Yeah, it was pretty great.
Have some time.
But, so what did we start with this month? We started with Empire of Storms. So Empire of Storms from the Throne of Glass series. I'm continuing my journey through Sarah J. Maas's Throne of Glass. This was my favorite one of the bunch.
Yeah,
so
that
far.
makes sense.
It was a strong 4 for me.
We have a strong 4, not just a meh 4.
No, it's a very strong 4.
Yes.
Yeah, I enjoyed this one. A lot of stuff happens. We'll have a link to our full thoughts on it, but overall, I'm excited to see the direction that it is heading. There is a lot of world building done in this book.
Yeah.
It very much feels like Sarah J. Maas leveled up in this and is much more confident as a writer.
She did.
And is much more confident, specifically like adding stuff in that she needs to complete the story she wants to tell, which I really enjoyed. I am now... I have started reading Tower of Dawn, and I'm interested to see how... Well, I guess that's a spoiler, so I'm not going to say it.
No, you guys just be quiet.
It's going to be quiet. Okay, anyway, before I say anything terrible and spoil stuff, let's move on to the next video we released this month, which was you.
Yeah, the House of Flame and Shadow. I technically read it literally 2 days after it came out, but wanted to give everyone some time to kind of let it sink in and have some time to read it, since it was such a big deal of a release. I loved it. Surprise, surprise. Period. Any
general stuff you want to say about it, or you're just too full of spoilers?
No, I mean, I can do it without spoilers. Okay. It was very much a Crescent City book. A lot was happening. A lot of world building, which I know is a critique that people give of those books. Personally, I love it. Also because it's the first urban fantasy I'd ever read, so I kind of felt like I needed world building in these worlds. I love the characters. I thought the growth was great. Well, I know a lot of people had some issues.
Oh, did they?
Yeah,
interesting.
Specifically, and I was like, this feels realistic to me. So in my version, which you can watch my review, and my personal take on it was great. Loved it. I think it would have been really hard for me to give it a negative review because I was so excited to have a new Sarah J. Maas book, to be back in Crescent City. Bryce Quinlan is one of my favorite female characters of all time. So yeah, I think it was a fun book. It was action-packed. Oh boy, it never stopped. But I had a great time.
Great.
And then we finished the Percy Jackson series.
And the Olympians, which was crazy. The first series that we finished on this channel,
I believe.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
I think we talked about it in the video.
Yeah,
but go us again. Right. Who cares?
Yeah, but like I didn't really like
we did. I loved it.
Loved it.
Yeah, we both gave it 5 out of 5 stars, which I think is the first time we've given a book the same score.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
I could be wrong about that. But anyway, absolutely adored it. I think it's the perfect ending to this series.
It was delightful.
So much fun. It's action-packed. There's huge emotional beats. There are big moments of character development that the show spoils, but, we get to, as a reader, you get to enjoy for the first time. I am really mad about it.
I didn't even notice it. I didn't even remember it. So.
Whatever. But yeah, I mean, I couldn't be happier. It's always great when you read something from when you were younger and it still holds up. Though I read these probably when I was a little bit older than, I guess, the intended audience, but who cares? It's awesome.
Who cares?
It's so great, and I'm excited.
We had a grand old time.
To continue on in
I'm excited to
Riordanverse.
Riordanverse. That's fun to say.
Riordanverse. And those were the videos that we put out this month,
Yeah, I took a little break from Wheel of Time kind of on accident just because we had so much going on. It was my birthday month, we had trips, we had family, so didn't really have time to delve into that really hefty 900-page book, but we'll be getting back to Wheel of Time this month. I've also got to get my hands on the audiobook somehow. I have a plan to go to another library so I can get a Libby app, because my library is not connected to Libby, which is a bummer. So, Wheel of Time,
we'll get
coming back at you.
We'll get
there. Took a little break.
Yeah, sorry we took a little bit of break,
so
but
sorry.
we're so we're gonna get back to that this month, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
For sure.
Did you read anything on your own at all?
No, I didn't. I'm in such a reading slump, it's not even funny. I'm in the slumpiest of slumps.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we need to give you something else to read so you get out of that slump.
Yeah, no, for sure. I also just need some time.
Okay, that's cool.
Thing.
Whatever you need.
I just need time.
Yeah.
I haven't been taking time to read recently. It makes me sad because I love it so much. And you would think during my birthday month of all months. I would do the
It
thing
was
that
a
I love to
very
do the
busy
most.
month. We did
But it was
not
very
have the
busy.
time.
So hopefully I'm going to get kicked out of my reading slump. We'll talk about a TBR after you.
Okay, cool, great. So this month I read 4 books on my own. A novella, a collection of short
That's
stories.
like as much as you
I only
read.
read 2 full-length novels.
Okay. Good.
And 2 full-length novels. So the first was The Dregs of Empire by Christopher Rocchio. This is the 3rd novella in the Sun Eater series. And I think my favorite.
Ooh.
I'm not sure. I don't know. I liked all of them
favorite?
quite a bit. My favorite of the novellas.
Okay.
I don't know. I liked all of them quite a bit. I gave it a 4. It follows Lorien Aristides. I can't go into detail too much about it because, while the first 2 novellas in this series can kind of be read whenever you would like, this novella is a direct continuation of Lorien's story after Ashes of Man, which is the 5th book in the Sun Eater series. So don't read it if you have not read Ashes of Man yet. But Lorien, I always really like these novellas because we get someone else's POV, and that's so valuable in the Sun Eater world, where everything is written from Hadrian's point of view in the main novels, so, everything is kind of touched with his POV, and it's so nice to get other people's point of views, especially because anytime you're in someone's head, you get so much backstory on them immediately, and Christopher Rocchio really makes sure that when you are reading someone's novella or short story or whatever, he really throws in a ton of information, so you really learn a lot about Lorien and his history and his beliefs and things like that, which was really, really fun. There's a bit of a heist type thing that goes on.
Heist.
The only critique I really had was I think that the build up to it was very, very long, and the ending was a bit where everything kind of happens is a bit rushed, I felt, but overall really great experience, and I'm really excited for Disquiet Gods, which will have come out yesterday on the date of the release of this video, so I'm going to get to that as soon as I possibly can. The next book I finished was it The Mad Ship? I think it was. Yeah, I believe the next book that I finished was The Mad Ship, which is the 2nd book in the Live Ship Traders trilogy by Robin Hobb. The first book I really liked, but I didn't love. I was kind of on the fence between like and love. I had really high expectations, and I felt that it didn't quite meet them. This book absolutely did. Holy crap, I loved this book. So much happens. The characters develop in a way that I just really didn't entirely expect. In the end of the book, there were some characters that I'd absolutely loathed throughout all of the first book and a lot of the second, and end up really liking. I don't want to get into spoilers because this is the 2nd book in a series, but we still continue to follow mostly the Vestrits, which is a trader family. Most of the plot lines include at least one member of that family. A lot of them are kind of in disparate areas at this point. The way that this book sets up the 3rd, almost everyone is kind of doing their own thing. It's kind of wild in so many different places, but many of them to try and achieve a somewhat similar goal with an overarching plot that has to do with sea serpents, actually, which is very interesting. There's a ton of lore about just the world of the realm of the Elderlings that we get in this book, which I really enjoy too, and I expect more of that in the 3rd, which I'm very excited for as well. I don't want to go too much more into it, other than one of my favorite aspects of the book follows a character named Captain Kennett, who is a pirate captain who is really just a bastard. He is so awful. But he is such a fascinating character because the entire, at least to my mind, theme around his story arc is what matters more, your actions or your intentions, because you can try and do good and fail, or you can be completely selfish and try and do evil, but still do good for many, many people. And what is more important than that? Kind of makes you face that while looking at this character without giving too much away about what goes on with him. So I really can't wait to finish the series. I blew through this 2nd book. It was absolutely phenomenal. And then I took a little bit of a detour. I wanted to have a little bit of a palate cleanser because that was such a long and somewhat heavy book. And I just randomly picked up Dungeon Crawler Carl, the 1st book in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series by Matt Dinneman, and I have never read a lit RPG before. If you don't know what a lit RPG is, it's short for literary RPG, and it's a story where the characters, literally level up. You can see their stats and stuff as you go through. I had never read one before, but I knew I liked progression fantasy, which is kind of similar, where the characters get more powerful. And so I'm not surprised to say that I loved it. I loved it more than I thought I would. I read it in a single day.
He laughed out loud so many times reading this book.
It's very...
So many times. It's what is funny? And then I'm like, oh, he's reading. Got
it's stupid and irreverent and juvenile at many times, but thought it was really funny. I thought it was really funny.
That's great.
One of the funniest things one of the funniest, like, actively funny things I've read in a while. I don't usually laugh out loud very much while reading books, but I laughed out loud a lot while reading this book.
Loved it.
The story follows a character named Carl and his cat.
Classic Carl.
And his cat, Princess.
Oh, of course.
How to explain the setup for this? The world is essentially destroyed by aliens, and the survivors are suddenly told you have to, if you'd like to survive, you can go through an 18-floor dungeon crawl that will be live streamed across the universe, and it's essentially like a reality show in which they are trying to survive in this dungeon that is trying to kill them. There is an overarching plot behind that, but that is the basis of the story. And so Carl wanders into the dungeon with his cat, and they and just the leather jacket, boxer shorts, and flip-flops on his body, and tries to survive. And it's great. I hope there's a trillion of them. I want to just read them forever. It's really the perfect palate cleanser. I have to stop myself. I had to stop myself from just continuing the series because there's a bunch of other stuff I want to read, but it's such a fun read. I don't know if I said it already, but I gave it 5 out of 5 stars.
It's fun.
It's fun. It's so fun. It's the most fun. I really can't wait to continue it. I'm going to try and hold myself to just doing it as like a palate cleanser in between books, because otherwise I'll just read the whole thing in like a few days and then I'll be sad that it's over. So I'm just gonna hold off on that.
Good idea.
And then the last thing that I finished this month was Tales of the Sun Eater Volume 3, which is the third collection of short stories in the Sun Eater series by Christopher Rocchio. This was also my favorite of the short story collections for a few reasons. I just, 3 of my favorite short stories in all of the collections happened to be in this one. Also, all of them were about the same length. For some reason, I just seemed to enjoy that more. It made all of them feel more weighty, just like, and a bit longer, as opposed to like sometimes in some of the other short story collections there were some really short ones, which was cool, but it just made everything feel kind of weird. But this one I really enjoyed. I think Rocchio writes fantastic short stories, and really seems to have found his like sweet spot with them, especially in this one. My favorite ones, just to shout them out, the first one follows Octavia Corvo, who is one of Hadrian's commanders of his Red Company. And important note on this as well, before I say anything else, there are 2 short stories, at least, in this collection that require you to have read up through Ashes of Man as well. So do not read this short story collection unless you have read up through Book 5 of the Sun Eater series. But anyway, first story follows Octavia Corvo, and again, like the Dregs of Empire where we follow Lorien, whenever you get someone else's POV, you get a ton of backstory. And the amount of backstory that Rocchio manages to squeeze into this, 30-minute short story that I read about Octavia Corvo was unbelievable. I learned more about the character in that one short story, and like her history and where she came from, than, we had learned in 5 full-length novels, because most of that was speculation before, for reasons that I also can't really get into without spoilers. But the other 2 that I really liked, there was a space noir one, where this like private eye detective was trying to solve a murder, essentially, which was just kind of fun for the style of it. And then the last one was at the fire school on Jad, which is where the Maeskalo sword masters train. And I love academia and fantasy, and I love sword masters, and I just really wanted to learn more about that school since we got there. So just the fact that it was set there was cool. There were also some very cool characters that I cannot name for spoiler reasons. But yeah, really enjoyed it. 4.5 out of 5, I believe I gave it.
Nice.
But yeah, so a solid reading month. I really liked everything that I read. I wish I had gotten to read another like full length. I wish I had gotten to kind of finish Life of Traders, but it was really good to read what I did.
On to the next.
On to the next. And speaking of, what are we planning to read next month? So
Wheel of Time.
Yes, so we should be
Lord
continuing
of Chaos.
Lord of Chaos in Wheel of Time. I'm not sure when what week that will come out.
Probably the end of the month.
Probably the end of the month.
With how slumpy I've been with my reading, but hopefully I can get out of it.
We will read. Well, I will continue my journey through Throne of Glass. So it should be Tower of Dawn. I'm about a third of the way done as of the release of this video. So that video should be coming out next week. And then we're going to keep moving forward in the Riordanverse. We're going to read the Heroes of Olympus, the first book in that I am forgetting the name of right now, but that is where we're going to start. So we will have that out together as well.
Yeah.
And do you have any books that you were going to try and read on your own, assuming you have
really?
time?
I said this like for 2 months. I
Okay.
want to get into the Bridgerton series. I read
Okay.
the first one. I have the second one. I can't tell if it's because I know what happens because of the show.
Sure.
I don't reread a lot because I get bored if I know what happens, which I know is kind of the opposite for a lot of people, except for Akhtar, Crescent City, and Sarah J. Maas. I will reread those 1,000 times.
Love it.
But I think that's like kind of been a part of my stall with that. But I would like to get into it, especially I would like to read the third one before the new season of the TV show comes out, which I believe the first part is either in April or May, and the second part is in June. So I've got some time. They're not long books. They're like 300 pages. I just have not been motivated to read. So I would like to read at least the first 2 in that series. And maybe I need to squeeze in like a cheesy hockey romance in there because I love a little
Hell yeah, we love that.
A little romance, a little spicy, just like cute novel. That's my goal.
Great.
More books than one in this.
I love it. I believe well too, but I believe
There'll
you.
be at least 2 this month. Hopefully many. We don't have any travels going on.
We don't.
And
It
thus far,
should
no
be-
people coming in
hopefully
town.
It
So
should be a relaxed month. I
Yeah,
hope.
yeah.
We're both pretty tired.
both pretty tired, doing a lot of work, but here we are. It's
Here we
good. What about you?
So first off, Disquiet Gods came out April 2nd, so yesterday. So hopefully I'll be able to get on that as soon as possible. It'll kind of, when I read it, will kind of depend on how quickly I finish Tower of Dawn and the first Heroes of Olympus book. But regardless, could not be more excited. And also really sad because there's nothing else to read in the Sun Eater universe after that, and
You've been reading it for so long.
I'm reading it for a few months now. I slowed down on purpose, but I'm going to be bummed when I mean, he has not announced when the final book in the series, book 7, is going to come out. Hopefully next year, but who knows? So that'll be a bummer. But then I also hope to finish the Live Ship Traders trilogy. I believe it's The Ship of Destiny. I believe is the name of the third book. If I'm wrong, sorry, but it is the third book in that series. So I presume I will finish that as well. And those are going to be 2 pretty long books. I believe they're both like 700 or 800 pages. So assuming I have time to read other things, I think I'll probably try and throw in a palate cleanser, probably Dungeon Crawler Carl, the second book in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. I forget the name of it. I'm really dropping the names of every book in this video. I apologize for that.
That's like me. Who are you, me?
Yeah, I know.
I don't remember
And if I have the time, I will probably either start my next series, which I think is going to be The Dandelion Dynasty by Ken Liu, or I've been playing around with the idea of rereading Mistborn, kind of like 1 book a month from now until, the next Stormlight Archive book comes out, which is not related at all, but I kind of just like reading Sanderson. So, I don't know, maybe I'll try and start that this month if I have the time. Unsure, but it's been a very long time since I read Mistborn, and I have not read Mistborn Era 2, so I kind of need to get through that at some point, and my goal is to do that this year, so we'll see. Maybe that this month as well, but
Amazing.
yeah, who knows? And maybe that'll all change. But
we don't know.
We have no idea, but that's my plan as of now.
Yeah, let's read books.
We love books.
Also, you guys can see our display has changed. We got a special edition of the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series. We did an unboxing, so check that out on our
Yes,
channel.
this is from Illumicrate.
It's so pretty.
It's so pretty.
These are obviously the sprayed edges. The other side is pretty too, but I really like the sprayed edges.
Yeah, so if you want to see more details about what it looks like, you can check out our video here and linked below. And I think that's everything. That's all the stuff we did this month.
Powerful.
Yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Again, we love releasing these videos, giving you guys the monthly updates.
Talking about books.
Talking about books. We love talking about books. What did you read this month? Let us know down in the comments down below if you have any suggestions. We will always take things to add to our ever-expanding and impossibly long TBR.
From your comments. We need to make a list.
I know, yeah. I add them to my TBR. It's so long.
Well, we should add them to. We should have a separate one for the channel.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Well, maybe we'll do that too. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching, and
we'll see you on our next adventure.